Now with a crossover, we're prepared to see the bearded one. The Houston Rockets will face the LA Lakers. LeBron James sending that one out, but hey, the Lakers have won 4 of their last 6. That should be an interesting one. Welcome to Game Time Live. Chris Miles here with Carlos Boozer, Dennis Scott. We have to get right down to business. 5-time All-Star Anthony Davis out 1 to 2 weeks with a left index sprained finger. So, yep, there you go.
Interesting.
Now, he could miss possibly 4 games or 7 games. If he misses 1 week, that's 4 games. If he misses 2 weeks, that's 7 games. He's missed 5 games so far this season. If you're trying to do the math, looking at the last couple of years, he's played in 75 games. So he's been more durable than he was earlier in his career, averaging career highs in points, 29 a game, rebounds, 13 a game, and assists, 4 a game. And that laundry list of small injuries he's had in his career, there's not many in double digits. Right. He sits out 2 games here, 3 games there. You saw the 14th, the sore left knee. Booze, when you look at Anthony Davis and how talented he is, why do you suppose there's so many small injuries keep him out a total of 87 games in his career?
Oh, he's doing a hell of a job carrying that franchise. So sometimes your body's going to ache a little bit when he's doing so much. You look at his numbers, he's 28, he's 14 rebounds, he's 5 or 6 assists, a few blocks a game. He's playing most of the game. So he's going to accumulate more and more injuries from time to time because he needs help. He needs help to do the heavy lifting.
And for me, Chris, it's one of those things now with AD. He's so talented. And to Boozer's point, he's been carrying the franchise, and he is the future of the franchise. So now with all these injuries, Booz, if you're Dell Dempsey, you're in the front office, you're like, how do I make sure I manage this the right way? Because we know the trade deadline's coming up. We know a year after now he could be a free agent. So many people are talking about him leaving. Yeah. So now you're at the 12th spot presently today in the Western Conference. Mm-hmm. And if he misses those 5 to 7 games, then you don't want to say never, but you're close to saying never of getting back in that hunt to try to fight for an 8th spot. So that's why you have to really, really manage the player physically with the injury, and also, Booz, manage the player mentally because you know there's a bigger picture with Anthony Davis. So you're saying to yourself, there's so much talent there, you're willing to deal with some of these nagging injuries that he's dealt with.
And early in the season, they got off to a great start, and then he sat out those 5 games, and they haven't really recovered since then. How does that take a team out of their rhythm, especially a player of his caliber, that they're depending on him night in and night out and to try to play without him for any period of time?
Yeah, he does such a great job offensively because he's such a threat offensively, inside, outside. He makes his free throws. But where they're going to miss him the most is defensively because he protects the rim so well, gets 4 or 5 blocks a game. We've seen him had double-digit blocks before. So with him not being in there, their defense is going to suffer a lot.
Yeah, defensively and rebounding. That'd be the other thing that comes to mind because we know he's a walking double-double. So now can the rest of these guys step their games up? Because we always say the next man up when a superstar goes down. But I always try to remind people there's a reason he's a superstar. There's a reason those other guys are on the bench. So you're really asking a lot for guys who've never been there before.
So I guess the last time he was out, Julius Randle, Nikola Mirotic, those were the 2 guys that seemed like they took their game to another level. But then the second unit struggles more for New Orleans. Who steps up with them is really the question, because if you're going to plug Mirotic back in that starting lineup, Julius Randle in the starting lineup, then who are you relying for bench points?
You might be. Hello, a free agent. hello, G League. There's over 7 guys on the bench, and you're bringing 2 guys up, so these leaves you 5 guys who's part of the system, and now you're asking those guys to come in and do things. I say it again, they haven't done those things before, Chris. So that's why you're Mirotic and Randle. You know, those different guys have to really play better and more consistent basketball until he gets healthy.
And I would also say Holiday will probably take on more of the scoring load as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly Drew Holiday is a guy that's been great this season, last season as well for the Pelicans in being the Batman, the Robin to AD's Batman. The Rockets have lost 4 of their last 7, that despite the fact that James Harden averaging 40 in his last 21 games. Let's say it one more time. He's averaging 40 over the last 21. That last loss against the Nets, Harden scored 58. He scored at least 30 in 18 straight games. He'll look to continue that streak against the Lakers tonight at 8. What's been most impressive about what he's doing?
I think being in shape. People say, that sounds too easy. Well, you have to, and Boozer, you know this, you have to be in a certain kind of shape to put these kind of numbers up every night. I remember Tracy McGrady said it one day with Paul George, when you become that next level superstar, your legs have to be in a certain type of condition because you have to do it every night. It was like we were teasing about Kuzma. He got to 42 and then kind of fell off for a couple games and he got back hot again. He was like, wow, it is hard to get 42 every night. So now when you watch James Harden do it, you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
After coming back from an injury this season to get his legs back in his condition to perform the way he is.
And what's even more impressive to me is that, think about it, he's the #1 thing on the paper when you're trying to stop the Houston Rockets.
Right.
And he's still putting up these kind of numbers. It's very impressive what he's doing.
Well, Mike D'Antoni says Chris Paul will return sometime next week. This week, the Rockets also lost Clint Capella 4 to 6 weeks following thumb surgery. So how much of these injuries are starting to mount up for this team that makes Harden's run even more ridiculous when you're considering he's not getting help from other guys?
Yeah, he's carrying the load, man. I mean, obviously with CP being out, that hurts a lot. Capella being out, especially with rebounding and someone that dives to the hoop, gets the easy lobs and alley-oop dunks. It makes James Harden's job that much more harder, but he's doing it. He's performing. He's carrying that team. He's getting some help from Eric Gordon. You know, Gerald Green's playing very well. Other guys can step up as well, but it's pretty much all on James Harden's shoulders.
Yeah, defensively it's going to be interesting to see how they play good team defense without Capella. Offensively, James has proven he can hold down the fort till Chris Paul gets healthy. But now with Capella, who's going to be that rim protector? Who's going to get those big rebounds he was showing us this season?
Well, that's an interesting question because according to multiple reports, Kenneth Faried is that guy. Now, here's a thing that's just concerning about him. He's played 44 games over the last 2 years, and he's not hurt. Why is that?
Because he hasn't been in Brooklyn's rotation, or should I say plan. He wasn't in Denver's plan. Once Jokic and Nurkic came on, we talked about in the meeting, he had just got that big contract. He said he saw the writing on the wall. He gets to Brooklyn, Kenny Atkinson said he's just not a part of the rotation, so that's what happened. But I will give him credit. He hasn't complained. He hasn't been a bad apple in the locker room. He's been going about his business. Now he's about to get bought out and possibly, go to Houston to all the conversation. If that happens, he will bring energy. That's how he made his name in this NBA, of running the floor, getting loose balls, rebounding, setting good screens, and rolling to the basket.
And speaking of situations, you're a guy that understands it depends as a big what your situation is. For him to play with a guy like James Harden, look, he's averaged 13 points in his career. He's averaged 9 rebounds in a season in his career. Can he get back to that form? He's still just 29.
Well, Houston's going to hope he does. He's very young. He's very fresh. He doesn't have a lot of miles on his legs right now. And the hope for Faried is, like 3D said, he brings energy. There's always room for a guy that brings energy and effort. And if he can continue to run the floor hard, set good screens, roll to the hoop for alley-oops, play good defense, rebound the basketball, he can help that team out.
Keeping with our theme of teams missing their key players, there's none bigger than one LeBron James for the Los Angeles Lakers, right? Well, they come into tonight against Houston riding a 2-game win streak. The Lakers actually 5-7 overall without LeBron now. That includes wins in 4 of their last 6. Of the young Lakers who seemingly are growing through this experience over the past couple of games, who's growing the most to you?
Kyle Kuzma has been cooking. You look at his numbers throughout the stretch, 26 points, 7 rebounds, playing very well. Me and 3D talked about it last night with you, Chris. He plays downhill. He's a runner. He takes advantage of his opportunities. He shoots the ball from a pretty solid clip from the three-point line. He makes his free throws, and he's getting more consistent. And that's the big thing for me with him, because he can pick and pop. He can roll to the hoop. On defense, he can play the 2, 3 to 4, sometimes the 5, depending on who he's going against. So for him in his second year to be averaging 19 points and doing what he's doing, trying to hold that fort down offensively, doing a great job.
I think for that OKC game was Alonzo Ball for me, and to hear him say that I'm playing with more confidence, I'm playing more aggressive now that LeBron's down on the floor. He's used to having the ball in his hand. So I'm saying to myself, guys, if Alonzo can play with this type of aggression and this type of focus and this type of confidence when LeBron comes back, then LeBron can say, okay, maybe I can take this quarter off because I know Zoe's going to do all the right things to keep things going. If I come out the game, we're up 10, I come back in, we're up 14 because Zoe is playing confident basketball. That's what I like when I saw that OKC game.
All right, focusing on this matchup, the Lakers have also lost to the Rockets twice, and that's with LeBron, and that's by an average of 12 points. All right, and James Harden scored 50 the last time these two teams went head-to-head. Can we expect the Lakers to be able to compete in this one? Chris Paul out, Clint Capella out, that's different. But can they compete against James Harden, the bearded one, the way that they're currently constructed without LeBron on the court?
Well, I think what Luke Walton will try to do is to tap in what we saw in the OKC game the other night. The question is, when James Harden gets cooking, does your enthusiasm get taken out of you because now how do you slow him down? You know, on the flip side is you have to get some stops to get some easy offense to get your confidence going on the offensive side of the ball.
I think something else I like that they did the other game was where they had Ingram playing the point, almost like a point forward.
Yes.
That helps them offensively, get guys involved, make plays for each other. So we'll probably see more of that tonight.
LeBron will be cleared to practice next week. Lakers have Golden State on Monday, Timberwolves on Thursday, the Suns on Sunday. When you look at those games and you think of LeBron coming back, when do you foresee him being able to get back on the court if he's just now starting to practice on Monday?
Knowing LeBron, Booz, you've been around him before. If LeBron really wanted to play, I think tomorrow, if we had to, he would. But I think there's being smart just to make sure. So a practice or two, and if LeBron says he's ready, then he'll be back on the floor.
Yeah, LeBron's done a great job with his body. As you guys know, he barely ever misses any games, as we've seen throughout his career. I'll leave it up to him. You know, I think if I'm one of his teammates, he knows his body better than anybody else at this stage in his career, does a good job of taking care of it, works out every day. And when he's ready, he'll be back out there. And when he does get back out there, the wins will start going like this. Yeah.
And if you go this, right, because the Lakers in the standings, they were doing this before their recent win streak, winning 4 of their last 6. Does that take the pressure off LeBron to come back when, okay, the young guys are handling this right now, they're staying afloat, they've won 4 of 6, as opposed to, oh, wow, we're falling, we're almost out of the playoff picture in the Western Conference?
I think it's the other way around, where when things were struggling, it might have been some pressure that maybe I come back a little sooner. They win a couple. And now I want to get back now while they're playing well to feed off the good confidence and the good play versus they're struggling. It's like, LeBron, come save us. No, now we found our stride. Now we found our confidence. Now come back to your point. Now let's really ride this wave and go that way. I think he's looking at it that way.
Yeah, I agree 100% because now these guys have stepped up. Kuzma's playing better. You know, Lonzo Ball's playing better. Ingram's being a playmaker and doing more things. Then you bring LeBron, who's an MVP candidate, back into the fold and gives them a chance to get even more boosted, hopefully climb a little bit up in this Western Conference standings.
That makes a lot of sense. It'll be interesting to see how the Lakers perform tonight against the Houston Rockets and how they look when LeBron James comes back. Certainly something to be excited about. Russell Westbrook and the OKC Thunder took flight against the Philadelphia 76ers in a matinee. OKC looking to stop their recent slide, and Victor Oladipo can carry a tune. I don't know if you've heard the R&B album, certainly looking like an R&B singer there. In a few minutes, we'll hear that voice, but in an interview, right? The Raptors continue to lead the league in wins. We'll check in with the Dinosaurs as well. You're watching Game Time Live.
To vote for the 2019 NBA All-Stars in the latest tallies, Steph Curry leads all Western Conference guards with nearly 3 million. Look at Luka Doncic hanging in there in the starting 5 as things stand in the Western Conference, still subject to the media player vote that's coming up. In the Eastern Conference, latest returns have Kyrie Irving and Dwayne Wade in the backcourt. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the leading Eastern Conference vote getter. That would mean he would be the captain for the team in the draft. Kawhi Leonard and Joel Embiid part of that starting 5 at the moment as well. Earlier, Jared Greenberg, Grant Hill caught up with Muggsy Bogues to talk about all things All-Stars, Charlotte 2019.
The third returns are in for fan voting for NBA All-Star 2019, which will be held in a month in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we are now joined by Hornets legend Muggsy Bogues to discuss All-Star voting, which concludes Monday night. So fans, get your votes in. Muggsy, who are you most excited to see in Charlotte for All-Star 2019?
Well, of course, I'm excited to see Kemba Walker and Stephen Curry, but the entire cast. I'm looking forward to the All-Star festivities that's going to take place in Charlotte. I mean, it's been quite some time since we hosted, so we're looking forward to 2019 hosting it to the best of our ability.
Yeah, Muggs, you said it's been some time. I think it was maybe the early 90s, the last time the All-Star game was there in Charlotte. You live there, you play there, you know the basketball craze in that community. Just, I don't know, just talk about the anticipation, what the residents, the fans, the basketball fans there in Charlotte are looking, or the excitement around the upcoming All-Star weekend.
Oh, they truly excited, man. As you alluded to, we had it back in '91, but back then, you know, it was a young city, you know, didn't know much about the NBA. We've grown over the years, and then having it coming back in 2019, even though it was supposed to be in 2017, but due to the laws that was going on, we were fortunate enough to have it come back to the city of Charlotte in 2019. The fans are excited. I mean, you got to understand that, you know, the Bible Belt and where it's going to be taking place, it's a hospitable type of atmosphere that's going to take place down there. We're looking forward to it. They want the fans want to engage with the best players in the world. I mean, this is the opportunity for them to meet and greet them and have an atmosphere that's better than none. So we are excited, and I'm quite sure all the fans in Charlotte are excited.
Yeah, and you'll probably see some fireworks, right? Especially in today's day and age where we're seeing teams like the Houston Rockets take 73s in a regular season game. How many points are we going to see in All-Star 2019? Are we going to get a team over 200?
Well, I mean, hey, that's the way the game is going, especially where the guys are shooting the basketball behind that arc. And but hopefully we'll have some defense being shown in this game. Last year we did. I mean, the new format that did take place really kind of created that competitiveness, and hopefully we can have it again this year. And I think that the guys are excited, and having the two leading, you know, right now vote getters select the teams, it's going to be very interesting.
Now, Muggsy, you having played for the Charlotte Hornets, having played at Wake Forest, curious your thoughts on the greatest basketball player, high school, college, or pro, to ever play in the state of North Carolina.
Well, I mean, that's a fighting battle right now because you got two guys that really stand out. You got David Thompson as well as, you know, Michael Jordan. And those guys right there is you know, in my mind, are the two greatest that ever laced them up in Carolina.
Well, what about Christian Laettner? I mean, he did pretty good at Duke.
Wow, Mr. Humble.
Yeah, but he ain't from there, though.
No, it's not about who's from there, just whoever played there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, but still, even Christian Laettner came there. I don't have him in the same category as Michael and David Thompson. But
bottom line is,
I'm not disagreeing with him.
He's not even entertaining Grant Hill's name.
Jared's just trying to be messy.
What about Grant Hill?
No, Jared's just trying to be messy, Muggsy. That's all. That's all.
I know it. I was going to throw you in there, though, G.
Muggsy Bogues, Hornets legend. We appreciate your time, and we can't wait to get to Charlotte for NBA All-Star 2019. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.